Hey everybody, it's Yordle Man, the Waifu Collector, still the only fair human on Earth. I'm here with some more fighting game talk, and this time it's about something we all knew was coming. We all knew it had to happen and it was on the horizon, but that doesn't make it any less exciting. I am of course talking about the prospect of a Capcom vs SNK 3. This idea of a proper follow-up of the 24-year-old Capcom vs SNK 2 has been a thing a lot of fans have wanted for a long time. And based on everything just shy of an official announcement, it would seem that the time is nearly upon us. Because back in the day, Capcom and SNK eventually had a falling out, and both Capcom and SNK individually fell on hard times, with SNK's rough patch being especially hard to a company-threatening degree. But through their own journeys, both companies persevered to see better days, with Street Fighter now seeing more success than they have in a very long time. And although SNK with King of Fighters didn't become the biggest fighting game ever or anything, they did eventually recover into a comfortable spot. And after those long company journeys, as you might imagine, any beef these guys may have once had was long since let go and forgotten. Not only that, but the friendship of the companies has returned, and it started off very light, with just some promotional art at EVO depicting a crossover between Street Fighter characters and King of Fighters characters. Now this was already enough to get us all going, and although it wasn't so damning that we thought CVS3 was right around the corner or anything, it did show that they were buddy-buddy again, and that was promising. However, we would later find out that in Season 2 of Street Fighter 6, the Street Fighter franchise would receive its first ever guest characters, and those two characters were none other than the King of Fighters / Fatal Fury mainstays, Terry Bogard and Mai Shiranui, SNK's two most popular characters. But of course it didn't stop there. You didn't think that this was a one-sided exchange, did you? Of course it's not, because it was then revealed to us that SNK's Fatal Fury revival game, City of the Wolves, would be getting both Ken and Chun-Li from Street Fighter as guest characters. So at this point, Capcom and SNK were doing a straight up swap and handling each other's characters. And so by that point, we were all certain that we'd be getting CVS3 sometime in the not insanely distant future. And this character swap evidence is certainly more than enough, but recently, Ken was actually released in Fatal Fury, and well, just listen to what he and Terry have to say at the end of Ken's arcade.
Just thinking about making a trip to Metro City myself. Metro City, Southtown, a tussle of two cities. Know what I'm saying?
Makes you wonder, huh?
For real. Just imagine. Tizok and Zangief in a clash of titans. Taekwondo thrill seekers Dong Hwan and Judy going at it. Rock and Luke in a battle of new blood.
The Kyokugen guys against Ryu himself even.
Exactly. We'd be mixing it up with everyone too, of course. Story writes itself, don't you think?
You never change, do you? But hey, now that you mention it, Kyokugen, Shiranui Ninjutsu, wolves, outlaws. Yeah, I could see the fun in a fight like that.
Right? Tons of cool matchups just waiting to happen. I'll spread the word. Let people know Metro City's where it's at when it comes to hard-hitting brawlers.
They better be burning for a good fight, though.
Yeah, no kidding.
Damn, man. Staring you guys down again. It's gonna be pure chaos. But you know what? I'm all for it.
So yeah, that pretty much just all but confirms it. They're fantasizing about matchups, mentioning a clash of their cities, there's seemingly a reference to SVC Chaos, and in that reference, Ken even says, staring you guys down again, it's gonna be pure chaos. He says it's gonna be, as if it's guaranteed to happen. And maybe that's just for the sake of in-world lore or something, but I doubt it. So yeah, as you can see, in some way, shape, or form, we we will almost certainly get a Capcom vs SNK 3. But now that we know we're getting it, what do we want from it? And so now I just want to go over the rough edges and generalizations of what I'd like from a CVS 3. I'm not gonna do a roster lineup or anything, maybe in a different video, but right now I just want to do some short general hopes. And the biggest of those hopes would have to be, please don't let SNK develop it. I'm sorry, okay? But please, no. Capcom just make better fighting games, and I'm not talking about the budget and content and the game modes, even though yes, that stuff is better. A lot of that has to do with Street Fighter being more popular and having more access, but that's not even what I mean when I say Capcom's fighting games are better. I mean, mechanically, they are better games. They're more fun to play. SNK games aren't that good from what I've played. And kudos to them for solving their ugly 3D problem with Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, but beyond the looks, City of the Wolves just isn't all that fun. Frankly, it's just not touching Street Fighter 6. It just isn't. SNK fighting games have some awkward quirks, not great feel, and oftentimes hyper precise timing that doesn't feel worth the effort. Although they've eased up on that part a bit with recent games, but only a bit. I think there's a reason why after all this time, King of Fighters / Fatal Fury is still as niche as it is, and Street Fighter is a big 3 fighting game with casual appeal. And that reason isn't luck. So it kind of feels like a mistake to me to give the responsibility of CVS 3 to SNK when the other option is an obviously superior team. SNK games just don't feel that good to play, and I don't think I'm alone in that take. However, if I can try to see the bright side of this option for a second, if SNK developed CVS 3, it could be a learning moment for them and possibly a turning point. They know that a new Capcom vs SNK game right now would be the most eyes they've had on their IP possibly ever, and they would seek to make the most of it. And so maybe to try and do greater justice to the Capcom characters and also satisfy fans, they create a more Capcom-leaning game in terms of feel, because they would no doubt know that the bulk of people playing the CVS 3 would be showing up for the Capcom side of it and may not have even ever played an SNK game. So maybe you just try and satisfy those people and let the discovery of the SNK characters present make an organic bridge to King of Fighters or Fatal Fury. And if the game is received well, I could even see the theorized mechanics and playstyle carrying over to SNK's future games. And like I said, there seemed to be a reference to SVC Chaos in the Ken ending, so rather than CVS 3, they might be alluding to SVC Chaos 2. And if you didn't know, SVC Chaos is the game that SNK developed. It was also poorly received, but SNK was going through a lot at that time, to be fair. I'm sure they'd do a better job nowadays, but I still doubt it would be a better job than Capcom would do. So yeah, that is my main big thing. My one biggest big picture hope for a Capcom vs SNK 3. We could talk more mechanical stuff and roster stuff, but that's probably better for a separate video. One small thing I can say though is that I hope the Capcom side of a Capcom vs SNK 3 has more Capcom and not just Street Fighter, because 90% of the Capcom roster in these crossover games were just Street Fighter characters. I think in CVS 2 it was literally all Street Fighter characters and Morgan from Darkstalkers. 99% Street Fighter and Morgan. We know Marvel vs. Capcom is Kaputskis now because Marvel is doing its own thing with Tokon. So let's get a Capcom side that looks more like Marvel vs. Capcom in CVS. Put Mega Man in it. He's not doing anything else. Lord knows he can't get a game. But yeah, just saying. And if you don't want to use all those Capcom characters, you just want to use Street Fighter characters, call it something else. Call it Fatal Fury vs. Street Fighter. Call it King of Fighters vs. Street Fighter. Or how about this? Capcom vs SNK Fatal Fighters. Boom, I just did it. You can have that for free. This is me signing off on it. You can have it. Anyway, can't wait for this game that I know we're getting. Can't wait for it to be announced. Then I can't wait to play it. I'm sure you feel similarly, so let me know down in the comments, what are you hoping for in this long-awaited crossover return? Or do you not believe it's happening for some reason? Let me know, and if you enjoyed this video, remember to give it a like and consider subscribing. But even if you don't, thanks for watching. And even if you forget everything from this video, just remember, I am Yordleman the Waifu Collector. I am just a normal guy. I like hentai, and I have never convinced anyone of anything ever. Goodbye.